Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakodash. That's all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? In the name of the Rakakodash, which is the Spirit Holy, Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles that labored in this truth before me and taught me this truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Right? Um, you know, we got some news about Spain. They're removing their Israeli ambassador in protest of the war, the Iran war, and the Gaza genocide, right? And we see when you get into the scriptures, man, this is prophecy. When we go to Revelation 17 and 16, it says, well, let me start at verse 1, right? Right, so Revelation 17:1 says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right, that great whore is talking about Babylon the Great, America. Right, and there's a great judgment that's coming to America for the wickedness that it has forwarded in the world. Right, America is known for abominations, man. Right, there's really no good things that come up out of America, right? That the Edomites, the so-called white man in America, has forwarded, right? It's just wickedness, extreme wickedness, right? Verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? Her doctrine, that's what that wine is, right? And America has forwarded a doctrine of perversion, right? Fornication, alphabet lifestyle, right? That America's so bad that the food that's sold here, a lot of it is banned in other countries. Right? This place is hell. America has to be destroyed. That's why there's a great judgment coming to America for the abominations that it has done throughout the world. Right? Verse 3 says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Right? If you jump down to verse 5, it tells you who this whore is. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Right? Because all the great kingdoms are mixed into Babylon. Right? America is spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt, spiritually Nineveh, Assyria. Right? All the popular wicked nations, America is that nation. All the gods of the nations, Molech, right? Ashtaroth, right? It's ISIS. All these different gods are here in America, right? They're being worshipped by these wicked elites, and you're unknowingly worshiping them through the holidays that America forged, right? You think you're doing it for the kids when you celebrate Christmas. You don't understand. You're worshiping Nimrod. Right, Easter, you're goddamn worshiping what's her name, Ishtar, the goddess Ishtar. Right, this place is all about idol worship. Right, let's get this. Let's go here. Right, this place is the land of graven images. It tells you that in Jeremiah. Right, this is the book of Jeremiah 50 and 38. It says, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. Right, America is not going to be able to prosper anymore, and that's what you see. The water's drying up. Look at the prices are going up. The prices of gasoline is going up. The prices of food is going up. The U.S. dollar is crashing. Right, that's those waters drying up. Right, a drought. Reading on says, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Right? They're losing their mind. Wisdom is gone out of America, man. Right? And the old witchcraft, the sorcery, the enchantments that he used to rely on, they're no longer working. Right? That's because the Most High God is disrupting their plans. Let me get that actually. Um, how is it worded? I believe it's in Job, book of Job. I want to say the 5th chapter, right? Yes, book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12 says, "He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprises. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong." Right. The point here, man, hey, the Most High God is disappointing the devices of the crafty. Who's the crafty? These global elites, man. Right. And you Americans that have benefited from the wickedness of the global elites, right? You know, now everybody wants to come against the elites. Oh, it's the small hats, it's this, it's that. But you had no problem when you so-called white people, you Edomites, were benefiting from this. When you nations, you East Indians, you Asians, right? You Arabs, when you were coming to America and benefiting from the whore of Babylon, you had no problem. There was no issues. But now that you're getting touched by the plagues of America, right? You're getting touched by the judgment of America. Now you have a problem, and this is just the beginning, right? We really haven't gotten to the the real judgment, man. When that mark of the beast is implemented, when that RFID chip is implemented, right? That's when the real judgment's gonna come. You know, when people start dropping dead in America, when people start getting executed in America, that's when the real judgment's gonna come. Then you're gonna know, hey man, the prophets were here and they warned you. Right? So let's go back to right, so we're talking about Mystery Babylon. Right, so America is Mystery Babylon. The whore that sits upon the beast is Babylon, right? And the beast has 7 heads and 10 horns, right? The 7 heads represents Germanium Major, Germanium Minor, Spain, France, Britain, Greece, and Rome, the 7 major kingdoms of the Edomites, right? And the 10 horns go into the 10 vassal states, right? Those today that makes up the NATO and the EU, right? So when you jump down here, Revelation 17 and 15, it says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues," right? Verse 16, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall burn her with fire, burn her, slack shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire," right? That means the NATO countries are going to turn against America. And we already see this, right? With this Israel thing, man. That's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? This shit that, because Donald Trump, he's out here trying to declare the war over. Man, you're not running shit, Donald. Man, the small hats don't want the war to end. They want the war to keep going. Yeah, Netanyahu, this guy wants to control the whole Middle East, right? These guys have world domination on their mind. So this dude Donald Trump thinks that he can just tell them the war's over. Nah, the war's not over till they say it's over. In Iran, hey man, they want their lick back. You know what I'm saying? They showing you that they're not cowards, right? Let's get this in Joel, the 3rd chapter. I believe it's 3 and 10. Or is it 4 and 10? No. Where is that? Come on. Right, I was there. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Right? And that's what Iran's doing, man. They're sick of getting bullied. And now they're saying they're strong. They're becoming a bully. Right? America, matter of fact, let's get this. Right? How much is the Iran war costing America? They're saying that it's costing $1 billion per day of taxpayer money, 900 million to $1 billion a day, right? And that's because, hey, Iran is really doing some damage. Right? These just say some little dudes, man. You know what I mean? These are the ancient Persians, and they're showing you, you know what I mean, that hey, they're equipped for this war, right? And they want the smoke. That's what they saying, man. They want the smoke, man. And this dude, Trump is looking like a damn goofy, right? Let's read on this article about Spain. It says the Spanish government has decided to withdraw its ambassador to Israel, according to the official state gazette. The move on Wednesday comes as Spain has been one of the European Union's foremost critics of Israel's genocidal war on Gaza and the new war on Iran launched by the United States and Israel. Right at the proposal of the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the European Union and Corporation, and following deliberation by the Council of Ministers at its meeting on 10 March 2026, I hereby order the termination of Miss Anne Marie Solomon Perez's appointment as ambassador of Spain to the state of Israel, the Gazette said. Spain's embassy in Tel Aviv will be led by a charge d'affaires, a source at the foreign minister said, according to Reuters news agency. All right, let's look. What is that? Charge d'affaires. Okay. All right, let's look that up. Let's look that up. Right. So somebody temporary. Um, but let's get this, man. Let's see what else I got here. Right. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk 2:15. All right. This is the book of Habakkuk 2:16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." Right? And that's what we see, man. Hey, you know what I mean? It's no longer popular to be an American, especially abroad, man. And people are seeing the way America's moving, and they're seeing that this country is ran by clowns, right? Sickos and creeps, man. That's who's running America, right? And the Most High God is going to destroy America. Right? There's no ifs and buts about it. This place is going to be destroyed, and it's going to become a desolation, right? Let me see. Well, let's go here to Isaiah 34th chapter, right? Start verse 1. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter." Right? All nations are going to have to get this judgment, man. The judgment is coming to all nations, but he's going to have mercy on Israel. Israel shall be saved, man. Right? Let's get that. Let's go to Isaiah 59:20. Right? The book of Isaiah chapter 59:20 says, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. As for me, this is my covenant with them. Right? Saith Yahweh, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed seed, saith Yahweh, from henceforth and even and forever. Right? So, hey, those that turn from, you know what I mean, turn from their transgressions in Jacob, the Israelites, right? That's who salvation is coming for. Right? Because let's get this. The book of St. Luke, chapter 1. We'll start at 67, right? It says, and his father Zacharias was filled with the Holy Spirit and prophesied, saying, "Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. He hath raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, And he spake by the mouth as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abraham. Right? But the point was here in where's that? Right? In verse 71 it says that we should be saved from our enemies, right? And from the hand of all that hate us. Right? This is an oath that the Most High God made with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. Not with the whole world. Right? Who are the enemies of the Israelites? We'll get that. Let's get that real quick. Then we'll come back to Isaiah 34. Right, we go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Watch this. Psalms 83:1 says, keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. Be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Right? Let's look at this word for enemy. Thine enemies, right? What's the word? Ayab. Ayab, right? Enemy, personal, or national. So an enemy can be a whole nation, right? It could be personal or it could be a whole nation, right? All right. So let's go back. It says, they have taken, verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? Well, let's figure it out. Let's go back here to, let's go to Baruch, the 2nd chapter. We'll start the 29th verse. It says, Baruch 2:29, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. Right? So the true biblical Israelites have been scattered into all nations. The scriptures tell you this over and over and over. They reiterate this. The true biblical Israelites are scattered to all nations, and they won't go back into the land until the Messiah comes back. Right? Actually, let's get this really quick. In Hosea, the book of Hosea, chapter 1, and we'll start at verse 9. Right? And it reads, then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Why did this happen? Because transgression. Because the children of Israel turned away from the Most High God and started committing abomination, started worshiping idols, right? Verse 10 says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall it be said unto them, ye are sons of the living God. Where did this happen, man? In the mystery Babylon the Great. They're telling you the black, Hispanics, and Native Indians aren't the children of Israel. It's the reprobates over there in the land that are bombing schools. They're trying to tell you those are the people of the Most High, which is false, man. They're not even supposed to be in that land, right? Because watch this. Verse 11, it says, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. Right? Who's the one head? That's Yahweh Shai. That's the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That's the one head. Right? Reading on, it says, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Right? So it says, when they come out of the land where it says they weren't the people, they're going to come up with one head and go back into the land, right? Who's the one head? That's the Messiah. So if those people in Israel were the real people, the Messiah would be there ruling over them. There would be no more wars, right? So let's go back here to Baruch. So Baruch 2:30, it says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, plural, they shall remember themselves. So the true biblical Israelites had to remember themselves. They had to remember who they were, right? That's who the hidden ones are. In Psalms 83, it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy hidden ones, right? The people that didn't know that they were the people, right? The ones that were told that they weren't the children of Israel. The proverbs and bywords, right? The people that are being called a color, black, brown, right? Hispanic, African American, right? Those nations don't exist in the Bible, man. We're the people I just listed, the Native Indians, the so-called blacks, the Hispanics, those are the true biblical Israelites, man. right? And they're remembering themselves now. That's why prophecy is speeding up. That's why you see wars and rumors of wars, because prophecy is being fulfilled, right? Verse 31, it says, and shall, I'll read 30 again. It says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves and shall know that I am the Lord their God. And I will give them and heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Right? So the name of the Lord is going to be given to the Israelites. Right? The name is not Yahweh or Yahuwah. None of that shit. Jehovah. No, the name is Yahweh. And the people that are gonna think upon that name, are gonna glorify that name, are gonna magnify that name, are the true biblical Israelites, the ones that forgot who they were. Right? Because you get this, like, this further goes into the hidden ones, right? Let's get this. Jeremiah 17 and 4 says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. Right? What's the heritage? When you look up that word, it goes into the land, but what else comes with the land? The culture, right? The way of living. That's all tied into the heritage, man. Right? Because the book of Sirach tells you, you know what I mean? If you go to the book of Sirach, it tells you, see, Ecclesiastes 17:10, because people try to say, well, no, that heritage is just talking about the land. Well, the true Israelites were scattered, so they're going to be taken out of the land, but also the laws and the commandments are part of the heritage, right? Sirach 17:10 says, and the elect shall praise his holy name. Right? The elect have to be brought back. That's part of the prophecy. The elect were going to lose who they are and then be sealed through the preaching of the word. Right? Verse 11 says, besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. Right? So part of the heritage is the law, statutes, and commandments, what the true biblical Israelites would discontinue from. Right? So let's go back to Jeremiah 17 and 4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Right? But we know that it wasn't going to be literally forever, because the book of Deuteronomy, 30th chapter, tells you that the people, that Israel will remember who they were. They will think about the blessings and the curses, and then the Most High God will put those curses on his enemies. Right? So the Most High God has enemies. The people of Israel have enemies, and the Most High God is going to save his people from their enemies, like it said in the book of Luke. Right? Precept upon precept. You can't deny this, man. Right? So back in Psalms 83 says, 83 and 3 says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The hidden ones are the ones that lost their identities, right? The Israelites, right? And the Gentiles in the New Testament is talking about Israelite foreigners, people that fell away, right? The Hellenized Jews, the Hellenized Israelites that lost their identities, that discontinued from their identity, right? Now, every time you see Gentiles, not talking about Israelites, but you have to spiritually discern. Right, when it's talking about salvation, Gentiles getting salvation, that's talking about Israelites, right? The Grecians, right? Those that have lost their identity, and they're receiving the adoption back into the fold. Because you gotta understand, the promises were made for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then the scriptures tell you, not seeds many, but seeds one. Right? It's through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that salvation is coming, that the kingdom is coming. Right? In the book of Acts, in the book of Acts, the Israelites are asking, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? Right? So even the Israelites in that time knew that rulership was the kingdom of heaven, man. And only one nation can be on top. The rest are going to be vassals. They're going to be enslaved, right? They're going to be servants, right? The kingdom of heaven is going to be like a feudal system, man. There's going to be the rulers, which is going to be the Israelites, then the rest of the nations, man. You got vassals and serfs, right? So let's read on. Psalms 83 and 4 says, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, right? And our people have, the name of Israel, the kingdom of Israel has been out of their mind. They've been calling themselves Black, Hispanics, Native Indians, all manners of bullshit, except for who they really are, the true biblical Israelites, right? It says verse 5, for they have consulted they consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs of Moab, the Hagarenes. Moab is the Chinese, the Hagarenes, African nations, right? Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. Amalek is the small hats, right? The Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, right? So all these nations are enemies of the Lord, right? He's not talking about one person. He's talking about whole nations of people are enemies to the Lord, right? So let's go back to Isaiah 34, and we'll read that again. Isaiah 34 and 1. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, right? All nations have been an enemy to the Most High God's people. All nations have had the Most High God's people, the Israelites, in captivity, right? So there's a judgment coming for that. It says, his fury upon all their armies, he hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter, right? This is talking about Armageddon, man. The Valley of Jehoshaphat, right? The last war, the third world's war, man. He's going to punish all of them, and after the people that are still alive are going to be slaves to the Israelite in the kingdom, man. When the Messiah comes back, right? Because let me get this real quick. I got to get this real quick. This is a classic. Let's get the book of Revelation, the 2nd chapter, and the 26th verse. It says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessel of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? Then we go here to the book of Psalms, chapter 2, and verse 8. It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Right? Verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Right? So the Most High God is promising the Israelites that follow Yahweh Shai, the Messiah, rulership of the earth, man. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. Rulership over the nations. And that's only promised for one group of people, man. The Israelites, man. The so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians that are scattered to the four corners of the earth. So let's get back here to Isaiah 34 and 3. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of the carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. Let's talk about the mushroom clouds, right? From the nuclear fire, right? And we're gonna read where primarily where the nukes are gonna be, man. It's gonna be in America, the land of Edom, right? In Bozrah, right? It says, the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse to judgment. Right? And look at verse 5 of the NLT real quick. It says, and when my sword has finished its work, right? The sword is talking about the nukes, man. It said, in the heavens, it shall fall upon Edom, the nation I have marked for destruction. So all Edomites in America are marked for destruction. The ones that are still alive in other parts of the world are going to be slaves in the kingdom, right? That's thus saith the Lord. Read Isaiah the 14th chapter, right? Verse 6, it says, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh has a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, right? So, hey, America's going to be turned into a big ass altar, and all you people, you heathen, you non-Israelites are going to be turned into a blood sacrifice, right? Yahweh says this, right? And when the beautiful thing right here is, it talks about Bozrah. When you get Isaiah the 63rd chapter, the Messiah is literally he's coming to Bozrah, and he's gonna kill a lot of people, man. I mean, He's going to unalive a lot of people, right? Let's get Isaiah 63:1. It says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? Right? We just read that in Isaiah, and none of this stuff has happened yet, right? Because this talk about the Messiah right here. It says, this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save, right? Who's mighty to save? That's talking about the Messiah, who the world calls Jesus Christ. Verse 2, it says, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine plat, right? So, wine fat. His garment is all red, like he's been stomping grapes all day, right? Verse 3 says, this is the Messiah talking. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. Right? For the day of vengeance is mine, is in mine heart, and the year of my redeem is come. Right? Verse 5, it says, and I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury is upheld me. Right? So, hey, the Most High God is sending his son. He's going to take a stop. When he comes, he's going to have a great slaughter in Bozrah, right? In Edom. Modern day Bozrah is America, the capital city of Edom, right? And America is Mystery Babylon, that great city, right? Who the world is has been drunken with the wine of her fornication. Right? So we just read in Isaiah the 34th chapter that there's going to be a great slaughter in Bozrah, a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. We see the Messiah, when he comes, when he returns, he's stopping in Bozrah, and he's going to be killing Edomites and the rest of you nations, right? When you read Matthew the 25th chapter, it says he separates the sheep from the goats. The sheep are the children of Israel, right? He tells you in Matthew 15, I am not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? So in Matthew 25, he's separating the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the elect, from the other nations, right? And the wicked Israelites, the 2/3 that have to be destroyed here, man. And it's going to be a great slaughter. So let's read on Isaiah 34:7. It says, actually, I'll read 6 again. It says, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. And watch this. When you go to Numbers, I believe it's 33 and 35, or no, I think it's 35 and 33, right? I mean, the scriptures tell you, which you reap what you sow. Watch this. Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Right? So the America is a defiled land because how it was founded, through the bloodshed of the native Indians and the slavery of the so-called Negroes. Right? And there was a great bloodshed of the Negroes also. So this land can't be cleansed except by the blood of Esau, Edom, right? And you might say, well, why do I have to suffer with for what my ancestors did? Because you benefited from it, right? Isaiah 21 tells you, hey man, prepare slaughter for the iniquity of their fathers, right? Prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of their fathers, man. That's the scriptures. The Most High, thus said the Lord, right? So reading on, Isaiah 34:8 says, for it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion, right? And that's a lot of Christians will be like, well, you guys want revenge. You need to let it go. Forgive or forget. The Most High God said he's coming back. He's sending his son back for revenge. He said it, and then the Messiah said it in Isaiah 63. It's the Lord. It's a day of, he has vengeance in his heart. It's the day of the Lord's vengeance, man. Right? So verse 9 says, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become a burning pitch. Right? This is how you know this is not talking about ancient Edom. Because that land, there's still people going to visit Mount Seir. Right? That land hasn't been turned into a desolation. It's not a burning pitch. right? Verse 10, it says, it shall not be quenched day or night. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation, it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever, right? So, in other places, it tell you that Mystery Babylon is going to be turned into, you know what I mean, it's going to be overthrown like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Completely uninhabitable. You can go live you can go live in Jordan, in the lands that Esau had, in the lands that Edom was in power over. You can go live in those lands, but this land of Bozrah is going to be completely destroyed, man, when the Messiah comes back, right? And that's all I gotta say, man. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Until next time, Shalom.